I also wanted to get into this Caitlin Clark conversation, and we'll talk about the WNBA a little bit right now, right? Because things are heating up. They just came back from the Olympics, and the people who wasn't playing in the Olympics, like Caitlin Clark, and most of her favorite teammates, they got a little break, so they came back a little rejuvenated and fresh. I think they on I want to say 5. Well, they just lost on Friday night or Saturday night. They lost Saturday night to Nafessa Carla in Minnesota. But before that, I think they had won 5 straight. I think they won 5 straight. I think so. But I know they was playing some really good basketball, right? So it started some debate about whether she should be in the MVP kind of conversation. And this is the thing I don't like about the whole situation with the MVP conversation, right? There's no criteria for any awards in sports, and it should be a criteria. And I don't understand why a business as sophisticated as the NBA or NFL don't have a criteria, right? Because I think it's very important, like in the military, when we give out awards, we have to have a black and white criteria. We have to have a criteria on file. We have to have a guidance for it. This is what we're looking for. This is how you interpret that. This is why they explain why we even looking for that, right? That way your personal bias can't feed into it too much. Now, personal bias is always going to seep in a little bit. You can't 100% get rid of personal bias, but you can try your best to get rid of personal bias and make people think twice about using their personal bias, right? So for example, you might be going up for a soldier of the quarter or a sailor of the quarter board or sailor of the year board, right? Everything is written down on what you're looking for, right? We're looking for leadership. How do we define leadership and in what areas and all that stuff? And we're looking for what you did as far as your job in terms of numbers and how successful your sailors working for you were. Like it's spelled out what you're looking for. It's spelled out. Well, what MVP is not. And then you got media members and other people that's in the NBA circle that's all part of the voting pool, and there's no one giving them guidance on what to look for. So guess what happens? You got 100. If you got 100 people that have a vote, you're gonna have 100 different criterias for the MVP. Like that's chaos. You got 100 people with no criteria from the NBA or WNBA. Figure it out on your own. Use whatever criteria you want. And the issue with that is your personal bias is going to help you create your criteria, and it's going to change every year. So instead of the candidates who might want MVP knowing exactly what the criteria is, I'm like, oh, okay, I can kind of tell who is closest to that. Like if I say you have to check this box, this box, this box, and this box, it's very easy to see who has the most box checked. So we could know who's leading the MVP discussion every year because we got a criteria. But what the voters are doing now is they're looking at the people that are candidates, and then whoever their favorite candidate is, according to their personal criteria, they're just shaping it. They're just shaping their conversation and their narrative when they explain why they're voting for that person. They just shape it based on what's favorable to them. And that's what people are doing with Caitlin Clark now. I've never heard part of the MVP discussion be jersey sales, how I don't know how this team has changed from last year with her on it. Like, how's that part of the criteria? Like, You can't. The criteria that they're using for Caitlin Clark, you can't even use next year. It's got to be a different criteria because based on the way they're shaping it, the argument for her MVP candidacy, the way they're shaping it, they can't use it for her again next year because those circumstances won't exist. It won't be a team that she's a rookie on that she turned around. It won't be all these other circumstances they're trying to use as far as she took the attendance from here to here. All those things won't exist. So next year they're gonna have to come up with a new criteria for her to get votes. But they okay with that because next year we're not even gonna be talking about that this year. So they can change the criteria. I seen them do it with Steve Nash. Steve Nash got an MVP where there was better candidates, and they made an argument saying that Steve Nash makes everyone around him better, and none of these guys is on his team or any any all-star level players. And then the guys that was in the discussion with him, like Chauncey Billups, they X him out and said, "Oh, he got Rasheed, Ben, Rip, and Tayshaun. They're too good." So therefore, even though they won more games than Steve Nash and Chauncey Billups plays defense, and he's on the all defensive team, and he's doing everything that Steve Nash is doing on offense, they was like, and the record is better. They was like, well, he can't get it because his team is too good, but Steve Nash's team is trash. But lo and behold, Steve Nash's team had Amari Stoudemire, Q Richardson, Joe Johnson, and Sean Marion on it. The team was stacked. But since they started out in Phoenix, we didn't know if Steve Nash was the reason why they was good or not, because that's what they told. They said the only reason why they look like that is because of Nash. But they're not really that good. It's Nash. It's Nash assist that's making them that good, right? And they just shunned Billups off. The crazy thing is, the next year they used a totally different reason why Steve Nash should be getting it. It was just crazy. So anyway, let's listen to how Rashad McCants and Gil's Arena was talking about it.
Have to happen for Caitlin Clark to pass A'ja Wilson in the MVP race?
A'ja would probably have to not play any more games this year.
Oh shit! Here we go.
She's playing out of her mind right now.
I'm waiting on this. What you talking about?
She's playing out her mind.
No punches against the WNBA players. Who's playing basketball out there?
Rashad, A'ja Wilson
plays on a super team.
And she
plays on a super team.
No,
we
see, he already started. He's saying A'ja, mind you, she's already won 2 MVPs. But now this year, all of a sudden, she can't get it because her team is too good. It's the same argument they get made against Chauncey Billups. Your team is too good. So now they're making a criteria to where, well, you really have to have a horrible team in order to compete with Caitlin Clark, who's like, it's crazy to say, okay, you work so hard to get your team to be good because y'all got chemistry and, yeah, of course you got players that can play on your squad, but you're leading them and you having a phenomenal year. But the double-edged sword, what is it, that if we're too good and there's another player that's having a good to great year on a team that's not that good, they're going to make the argument that, oh, well, the only reason why your team is winning and the only reason why your numbers look like that is because your team is so good. But this person's numbers look good. They don't look as good as yours, but they look good. But the fact that she ain't got a super team like you, we got to give her the MVP. That's the argument he's making.
Said it here last year that New York and Vegas are super teams.
No, we didn't say
no,
Vegas.
they're not
We
a
did.
super team.
Yes, we
Those
did.
Not a
girls got
super
drafted
team.
there.
They're drafted there.
Listen,
No, those
said-
Aces are not a super team.
we said.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we
No,
did.
we
We
didn't.
sat here on the couch
Maybe you said.
and said that these are the 2 super teams because they were the 2 best teams. This was before.
Yeah, but
this was before Clark and all of them. This was last
No,
year.
that was the narrative that they were pushing, and
That they were
Vegas
super team.
actively pushed back that they were not a super team because they built their team through the draft.
How many times was A'ja Wilson MVP?
Twice.
She won twice.
Twice. Is it back to back?
No, she didn't win last year.
All right. So being on a good team the way she is, they won back-to-back championships?
Yeah.
Back-to-back championships. Here comes this girl that's doing something different than what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She don't have none of the pieces that she has. That makes it easier for her to do her job. Asia can do her job with no pressure.
And
she can have an off night.
Nasty work.
And they
Caitlin
still
has
win.
pieces. What are you talking about?
They
If
definitely
Caitlin
got
had
pieces.
pieces, it wouldn't be 7, it'd be number 3.
But
So
No,
13
Caitlin just got there.
13 and 27 last year. They're 13 and 15 so far.
Caitlin just got there. She has the pieces. Have you watched them play the last week?
yeah, the last 3 games.
And they
specifically.
look like a completely different team.
She looks like a completely different.
Let's see if they do got pieces. That's the scoring list from 1 to 13. I got highlighted Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell because they both on the same squad. Kelsey Mitchell, they both are averaging 18 points a game. Kelsey Mitchell is a bucket. She might be their best scorer. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenal deep 3-point shooter. You know, she can get a shot off and she got a quick release and stuff like that. And she's taller than Mitchell, so she can shoot over people a little bit better. But Kelsey Mitchell, Lord, I mean, that girl can score. So yes, they do got a great pieces. And then of course, Aaliyah Boston, who won the not MVP, but she won the Rookie of the Year last year. She's a good piece as well. And she's averaging about 14 points, almost 15 points a game. So they got, and she's number 21 in scoring. So they have 3 people in the top 25 in scoring on their squad.
Player.
They look like a completely different
Because
team.
she did the work during the All-Star break.
They.
Caitlin said, I don't want to do none of that. I'm going to the lab. I need to fix what's going on here. And now we see the difference. She's like, nah, I'm going to chase that MVP because ain't nobody fixing with me.
Well, there's also, I would say there's
the playoffs. Her team.
2016.
So this is also what happens on Gil's Arena. And I said this, I think I did a segment on them earlier this week or last week where I told them, or I told y'all that Rashad McCants, Gilbert Arenas, and Brandon Jennings, they take turns being the hot take guy while everybody debate them, right? So even though we've heard Gilbert Arenas before be the guy that was so pro Caitlin Clark, he's taking the other side this time in this MVP discussion, and Rashad is saying the outrageous things. And you can tell, like, he's putting on, like, he don't really believe this, right? But Brandon Jennings, and of course Lexi, she's not even playing around. Like, she seriously don't believe Caitlin Clark is what everybody is saying. So she's the one that's not really aware of this. Like, this is her true feelings with what she's saying. But everybody else is playing the game.
There are 2 other players that she would also have to leapfrog to get.
They have her 2.
I don't know why though. I would say
That's just
Brianna. I would
right
say
now.
Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier are 2 and 3 right now.
Okay, so I agree with that. I agree. It's 2 other players. Like the witchcraft that they did with this whole conversation is, first and foremost, when you see an MVP ladder or a rookie ladder or whatever type of ladder for whatever reward, they usually go 5 deep, right? They give you the top 5 candidates, and they get votes, right? That was a debate for Rookie of the Year with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and I still think it is, but I think Caitlin Clark is in the lead, and I think whoever wins the most has the most wins, who has the higher playoff seeding, I would give my vote to, right? I don't think no one's running away with it. I think if anything, Caitlin is running away with it only because her team is on a win streak. But I'm not more impressed by her 18-5-5 than I am impressed by Angel Reese's 14-12, but with lockdown defense, right? So you got one player with lockdown defense, a leader on her defense, and giving you 14 and 12. And then you got one player who's not locked down on defense, who is sometimes a cone on defense, who averages 7 turnovers a game, or 6 turnovers a game now. But she's giving you 18-5-5 or 18-6-5. They're both great. Both of them has gotten some records this year, some rookie records, some NBA records. So they both got historic, milestones as part of their resume. One got 13 wins, the other one got 11 wins. One is number 7 in the league. One is number 8 in the league, right? So it's still neck and neck to me. But the fact the win streak is on the side of the Fever, I'm gonna give it to Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark has been in the league for me most of the season. I think 1 week I moved Angel Reese up, right? So and I just show you where I got it. Everything's still the same. Only thing that changed is my number 5 spot. Cardoso moved in my number 5 spot, but it's still 1 and 2, and then there's a gap that kind of got closed by Rakia Jackson a little bit, but that gap is still between 1 and 2, and whoever the third place is a gap. But Caitlin and Angel are still the top of my rookie board, right? Now, as far as the MVP, I've already told you my criteria, and this is the difference between me and the NBA. I have a criteria, that way I cannot be biased. Either you meet my criteria, you're the closest one to meeting my criteria, or you don't meet my criteria, or you're far from meeting my criteria. You get what I'm saying? So, and there's only 3 things. I want to see offensive value. I want to see defensive value. And you can show me offensive value in a lot of different ways. First and foremost is going to be through your points that you score. Show me that offensive value. Now, a person like Caitlin Clark is a point guard. So her offensive value is always going to be points and assists. But a big man like Angel Reese or Asia Wilson are not going to be able to show me points and assists. They're going to mostly show me just points for their offensive value. Now, am I going to give one a greater advantage just because they record the assist stat because of their position? Probably not. If you're showing me great offensive value and it's leading to team success, and you can show me team success by, like, put it this way, if I'm the leading scorer in the league, where is my team at as far as points per game in the league? If I'm scoring 30 a game, but my team is like 15th in scoring and team scoring, I don't respect your scoring. It's not that validated. And then the second thing I look at is most important is it leading to wins? And then how many wins is it leading to? Right? So you have to show me your offensive value. You have to show me how it affects your team positively. And then you have to show me that it affects winning, right? Connect those 3 dots with your offensive value, and then do the same thing with defensive value. Show me your defensive value. How is it leading to your team's success? And then how is it leading to wins, right? And then when you show me, and all of that goes toward team success, right? So I would never go down to the bottom of the standings looking for my MVP candidate, right? I'm looking for team success. Okay, which teams are successful? Well, 1, 2, and 3 stick out right now. New York Liberty, Connecticut Sun, Minnesota Lynx. Then you look at number 5 with Las Vegas Aces. The reason why I look at the Aces is because I already know the season that Asia Wilson is having is crazy. So if I'm going to look past that 1, 2, and 3 for a candidate, it's going to be that candidate that's having a monster season. But if Asia Wilson was at the 8th seed or the 7th seed, she would not, like, she's 17 and 11. That's a winning record, 6 games above 500. You look at number 7 and number 6, they're both below 500. And there's no chance that I'm looking for an MVP candidate with a team below 500. There's no chance I'm looking for an MVP candidate with a team below 500. I'm going to say that again. there's no chance that I'm looking for an MVP candidate from a team that's below 500. I'm sorry. A rookie of the year candidate? Yes. An MVP candidate? No. Below 500? You got to be kidding me. 13-16. You got to be kidding me, right? So I'm looking at the team success when I'm looking for my MVP candidates, right? So so that's my criteria right there. So when I do my criteria and I'm looking at these teams, I just changed it. Asia Wilson with this losing streak she's on. She just lost to Nafessa Colley in Minnesota twice in a row. Nafessa Colley just beat Asia Wilson twice in a row. They had 3 games in 4 days. They played Asia Wilson, got a day of rest. Then they played Asia Wilson again. And then the very next day they played Caitlin Clark's team, and they won all 3 of those games. One of them was a back-to-back. Come on, like Indiana Fever, their last game, they had 7 days off after their last game. No, I'm sorry, 6 days off. Oh, I say 5 because they played Sunday and then they played again Saturday. So I say was that 5 days off? 5 days off. Fresh legs. They came out with a team on the back end of a back-to-back, 3rd game in 4 days, and got smoked. And Nafessa Collier had 31 points, scoring in the clutch in the 4th quarter. This other person that y'all want to be in the MVP candidate, Caitlin Clark, 6 turnovers, almost 7 turnovers. Probably only 3 or 4 points in the 4th quarter in clutch time. This is laughable. But Nafessa Collier is not my number 1 candidate for MVP. Let's look at some of the things she's doing. Right? Like I said, I want to see that team success. Look at the leaderboard for your team, right? So if Nafessa Collier, and I want to say, what did I have my stats at? There's your record. Minnesota, 22 wins, 8 losses, right? 3rd place. So the team success is already there. You're number 3 team in the league, right? But then when you look at the points, I look at Nafessa Collier. She's the 4th. She's averaging 21 points a game. That's number 4 in the league. So she's a top 5 scorer. Her team is a top 3 team. And when I look at what her team is doing in all the categories, when you look at points per game, they're not scoring. They're not top 5 in points per game. You see Indiana Fever there at number 5, right? So check mark for whatever Caitlin Clark is doing for her team on the offensive end is leading to a little bit of success as far as points per game, but not in wins. So it didn't connect the dot all the way to the wins, which is the most important part, but at least I can see it translate somehow, right? But then you look over there at assists per game. The way Minnesota plays the game is leading to more assists than the way Indiana plays the game, right? So more team assists, that's what's more important. Not more assists for one player, but more assists for the team. The way Minnesota plays is leading to more assists than any other team in the league, right? More assists than Indiana as well, right? Then you look at blocks per game. They're top 5 in blocks as well. Then you look at steals per game. They're top 5 in steals as well. Then you look at 3-pointers made per game. Top 3 in that. Then you look at that 3-point percentage. Number 1 in that. Free throw percentage, top 5 in that. So I'm looking at Nafessa Collier as a leader of her team is leading to all of these things and ultimately leading to a top 3 seed overall. That's what I'm saying. Then you look at it individually, right? What do I see Nafessa Collier at? Well, highlighted in blue, I see her top 4 in scoring. I see her top 4 in rebounds, right? That's a huge deal. So I'm top 4 in scoring and rebounds. Caitlin Clark, she's number 1 in assists, number 1 in turnovers. Right? It's not looking like she should be in the MVP discussion. Let's look at Asia Wilson. Highlighted in purple. She's number 1 in scoring, 27 points per game. 27. And then she's number 2 in rebounds. And then she's number 1 in blocks. 2.8 blocks. And then she's number 3 in steals. I mean, that's not even close. The only knock she has on her is the team success is not there like I want it to be. Because like I said, her team is only a 5th seed, but they're 6 games above 500, so they're still successful. They're on a little bit of a losing streak right now. But they're the 5th seed. That's the only knock. That's the only reason why she's number 2. She's doing so much this season that a lot of people got her number 1 still, despite her being in the 5th seed. But there's no way I can have Nafessa Colley after she done beat her 2 games in a row. She's on the win streak. She's doing a lot of things as well. She has a better record. There's no way I can put her over Nafessa Collier right now. But like I said, the witchcraft that they did with this conversation is they act like Asia Wilson is the only person in the discussion, and they just somehow put Caitlin Clark number 2 right behind Asia Wilson because they see Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces is on a little losing streak, and they think that'll be the easiest way to get Caitlin Clark in the discussion for MVP as the top candidate. Just act like the other players don't exist. Make it just about her and Asia because Asia is having this monster game. And at the end of the day, if Asia keep losing games and Las Vegas keep losing games, they can have their argument, I guess. I don't know, but it don't make sense for them to skip over Breanna Stewart, skip over Nafessa Collier. Maybe there may be a debate or a conversation with Khalil Copper and Alyssa Thomas, maybe. But I don't have, I don't have her over Khalil Copper or Alyssa Thomas at all. I mean, if you look at their standings, Connecticut Sun is number 2. And Alyssa Thomas practically averaged a triple-double. Right? If you look at her, Alyssa Thomas, she's number 2 in assists. So the main thing that they want to give Caitlin Clark MVP over is her assists. And Alyssa Thomas is right behind her. One is 8.3, one is 7.8. Right behind her. And she's a forward. But not only that, she's also top 5 in rebounds. So she's top 5 in 2 categories. 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and about 11 points, 12 points. And a number 2 seed. Right? So you just can't sneeze at that. You can't overlook that, right? Seattle Storm, I kind of skipped them. I mean, Skylar Diggins is having a decent season. Jewel Lord is on the leaderboard for points. I think she's averaging about 20 a game. Where's she at? 20, 20 points a game. She's the 5th highest scorer in the league. But I don't have her as a candidate. I don't think her year has been phenomenal or stellar. Right. I can see a conversation between Storm, Jewel Lord and Khalil Copper, but I think Khalil Copper, she's scoring phenomenally right now. She's averaging 23 games. She's right behind Asia Wilson. And 16-14 record. So that's my top 5.
What's her number?
And that why though?
17, 8, and 5. Okay, so this is
What percentage?
I don't know.
Let me give it to you.
Now the problem is
Conversation for sure. She absolutely should be in the conversation.
That's all I want to say.
with Asia, she's averaging 27 and 12. right? Last year she was averaging 22.
But she's a big.
She should have won it last year.
She's a center. She's a big.
So she's averaging 27 and 12.
So
she has more of a responsibility.
Caitlin Clark shooting 41% from the field, 33% from three, 89%.
No way MVP.
No, not MVP.
No, I'm just
Not right now. Right now, no.
No.
By the time the end of the season, for sure, she's going to unanimously win it.
Wait, hold on.
The only reason y'all don't want to unanimously give it to her.
I'm not saying no.
Look, Candace Parker got it right.
But was Candace Parker on a great team?
She got it regardless.
No, the only thing that would benefit Clark is if, let's say there's 12 games left. They're third right now.
What?
Their team.
They're seventh.
They're seventh.
They're seventh.
Seventh.
And somehow they go, let's say, 10 and 2.
Yeah.
And she's averaging about 24 and something. They will be pushing as an MVP.
She's 5-0 right now against teams over 500.
Last 5 games.
But as I said, like,
But I don't want you to discredit
it'll be
that
team.
Fever team.
Oh, I'm not, because I watched them play.
Yeah. Like
Wow.
she has pieces.
I watched- now,
You're
you know,
acting
they
like
haven't
she-
been-
I watched them
by
play
herself.
What's going
That's a long
She's
time.
figured out how to play well with Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston.
Yeah,
But
those are two great
But
players.
you know what the
Yeah.
media does? She don't have no pieces because they was trash last year.
Yes.
That's how you do it.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
But that's
So-
but
and they
that
did
team
make
But
it.
yeah, she's
that team wasn't as trash as people
8
like
years.
to act like.
They had
It's hard to. I don't think people really understand how hard it is to win in the WNBA,
Yeah.
which makes Vegas going back to back very impressive because it is very hard to win in the W. But what Kaylin has added to that team was something that they've been missing.
Yeah.
And it took them some time to figure out how to make it all work. And Kelsey started the season injured. So I do agree. Conversation, yes. But the season Asia is having right now, it's hers.
No, I
It's
hear
team-
everyone
it's
has their own
It's team.
opinions, right?
You know what I'm saying? It's team. Like
You said
probability.
unanimous.
That's my
No
opinion.
way.
That's my opinion.
Unanimous.
I mean,
That's
just
crazy.
team.
Unanimous
Just like
is crazy.
like
Yes.
Asia's team is not dominating like it was
She's number one in
last year's. Right? She wasn't dominating last year.
Okay,
The team is
give her
not
an award for
dominating.
that.
They didn't have Chelsea Gray for
And they just
so-
also knew. I'm watching them play in
so
real
if-
time.
let's
Get
just-
numbers, but they.
What I'm saying is,
They're not
let's just
losing.
say Asia's team keeps losing, but she's still balling, and Caitlin's team is winning and she's balling. The tide will shift, and they're gonna try to push it because of the team winning. But if everything just stays
The way it
same,
is right now.
if it stays the
Asia,
same,
for
Asia
sure,
is
just 'cause
by
of- just for
far.
the sake of it.
You
Yes.
said unanimous.
But I can tell you
Yeah,
this
Just right now, I said,
Unanimous was
hey,
hard.
but that's because I know she's gonna get better.
You
I know
give it,
she's
first of all,
gonna
you
get
giving
better.
our voters too much fucking credit.
No, I'm not.
Like,
It's gonna be at least
There's
one
gonna-
hater.
There's
It's
gonna be
at
one
least-
hater that
She's
throws.
broken records
Unanimous
already,
12
bro.
games.
What are y'all talking about?
I'm-
She's broken WNBA records. What y'all? You discrediting her?
I'm not.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, if
She has changed the game.
unanimous.
That alone, as a rookie, think about this. A motherfucker sped up to try to bump me.
Oh God.
Ooh. Well,
I'm a rookie. You the vet. You know how fucking powerful I gotta be for you to have that type of animosity in your heart?
well, Rashad, since you brought it up, let's talk about it.
No, notice all the things that Rashad McCants named for reasons why she should be on the MVP discussion. It's not part of a criteria that can be repeated year after year. You can't use that criteria. You can't say somebody bumped me. That means I got impact. You can't say I changed the game. You can't say number one in jersey sales and all these things, because what are you gonna do next year? Is she gonna change the game again next year? So that's not gonna be part of the criteria next year, right? So whoever has the number one jersey sale next year, is that going to be part of the criteria? Has it ever been part of the criteria before? Like, all of these are things that don't have anything to really do with pertaining to basketball for real. And it's not something that I could write down as a criteria and tell someone to follow it and vote based on it. It's not something that I could use year after year, right? So none of that matter. We're not talking about the offensive value and the defensive value. We're not talking about the team success, because they can't talk about it. Because if they talk about team success, you got to say her team is below 500. You know, you have to say that. You have to say that her team is 3 games under 500, right? You start talking about offensive value, you're going to have to get into her plus minus, and you're going to realize, why is her plus minus so low? Oh, because she has just as many turnovers as she has assists. If I'm the point guard, my number one job is to take care of the ball. That's the number one job, right? And time again, she sees a tight window pass or a risky pass or all types of flashy passes. All of that takes more priority than taking care of the ball. Like I've always said before, I played point guard, and there's a couple of passes that I knew I could make or I felt like I could make, but just because where we was at in the game, I couldn't afford a turnover at that time. I would rather miss out on that opportunity to try to make that pass and say, well, at least I still got the ball. We still got an opportunity to score. I might have missed the window for that risky pass, but at least I still got the rock. I can make sure we get a high percentage shot. And if I miss out on that shot and still get 2 points, then great. You get what I'm saying? Perfect. Imagine being a person who feels like they can score on anybody, and then having another player like Kelsey Mitchell who also can score on a lot of people, and then a person like Boston who can get the ball in the post and impose her will a little bit and get a high percentage shot or get to the free throw line. Imagine having those three players on the floor and you feel the need that you have to throw a crazy pass after you've already went half the season averaging 7 turnovers. Like at some point you have to say, these turnovers are hurting my team and I'm not going to turn the ball over anymore. I'm just going to have to miss out on some of these sweet passes. I'm just going to have to miss out. Take care of the freaking ball. Right? I'm fine with not seeing a highlight pass. Okay, we didn't get to see a highlight pass, but you didn't turn the ball over and you can still get a high percentage shot. I'd rather walk the ball up court. Now, early offense is early offense. We get a rebound if somebody's streaking. If I can make that pass with ease, and I ain't gotta rifle it in there where the pass is hot and they might not be able to hold on to it. I'm good. We got the rebound. We got to stop. I'll walk the ball up court, throw the ball in the post. I might get a Leah Boston to the free throw line. But at some point, the turnovers have got to bother her. 6, and that's down from what was before the All-Star break. It was 7. That's a lot of turnovers, bro. And it ain't no excuse for it. 6 to 7 turnovers a game. That is unreal. Unreal. So yeah, I definitely got Nafessa Colley 1, Asia Wilson 2, Breanna Stewart 3. I mean, come on, Breanna Stewart. They got the best record in the league. I mean, this is exactly what happened to Jason Tatum with Boston. Best record in the league. I'm playing phenomenal, but they looking for someone that would they're treating they're pretty much treating Caitlin like Luka right now. Luka's team was in the 8th seed for a little while. They weren't playing phenomenal. Kyrie Irving was the Kelsey Mitchell. Derek Lively was the Aaliyah Boston, right? That's the dynamic they had, but Luka was getting close to a triple-double. He was getting 30, 8 and 8. And that was like, man, forget being in the 8th seed. 38 and 8 is harder than having the number 1 record in the league. Plus, Boston's too good anyway, so they ain't really Jason Tatum. It's the team, right? If your team's good, you know what? Forget your record. You know, we gotta go deep sea diving for a team in the 8th seed with a losing record, 3 games below 500, and try to get that person MVP. That's what they did with Luka. Right. So they're saying, hey man, we value the triple-double more than we value winning in this league. So let's put this person in the MVP discussion. And they're not even talking about Stewart. She won it last year. Now what she do to get wins is not good enough for the voters, according to the media. Nasty work. Very, very nasty work. But that's all I had to say about it, man. I mean, as far as the rookie of the year, like I said, I still got Clark number one. But there's a chance that Angel Reese can take over. Like who knows if the Fever go on a losing streak and the Sky go on a win streak, and the rookies are doing exactly what they've been doing, then my vote will change to Reese. And then the last thing I wanted to get into, my All-European first team. Right, this is my All-European first team. Right, with my two honorable mentions down below, Luka Doncic and Jokic. And the reason why they down below is honorable mentions. It's because they played in the era that was the weakest. The era where the commissioner admitted that he changed the game so they can score more points and have a more exciting game. He took defense out of the game on purpose. Like, he's admitted this. I can't take your number serious. I can't take anything you do more serious than what they did in the league when they was actually playing against a real opposition and real defense, right? So my All-European team, point guard Tony Parker, Ginobili at the off guard. My center is Arvydas Sabonis, Dirk, self-explanatory at power forward, and Drazen Petrovic at the small forward position. My All-European first team. That is it. Honorable mention, Jokic and Luka. But yep, that's all I wanted to say with that topic.